Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be a super special Fired Up podcast this month. As you can see, if you're watching, if you're listening, I'm going to tell you who's on. We've got our CEO, our big and bad, ferocious leader, Michael Renault from Proactive Training Solutions. What's up, Michael?
Morning, Susan.
Good
Good to
morning. Good
see you.
afternoon.
Good afternoon and good night, right? Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Is that a little better?
Yeah. We've got a lot to talk about, lots to catch up on.
There's been a lot
I'm
going on.
also, yeah. I'm also excited to introduce two new guests, but Casey Tenbrook. She is our dealer growth strategist here at Proactive. I love this gal, man. She's been with us for a few months and she's definitely leveled up the team. So you're going to be seeing a lot from her. Casey, what's up?
Hi, nice to be on. I know I was on a sneak peek a few months ago, but this is my first time actually being on as a guest, so I'm excited.
You
I'm
are an
fired up.
official guest now. Yes. Yeah, and I want to hear from you because I know she's got conversations all day she's having with dealers. So she's going to have a lot to say and to contribute. But most importantly, guys, I want to introduce a very, very special guest. Today, we've got Greg Neilson. Greg Neilson is from Volkswagen in Waterloo, Ontario. So he is a Canadian, and I love my
That's
Canadians.
right.
Greg, how you doing, sir?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. It's such a
Yeah,
privilege to be here. I'm really excited about chatting with you guys today. And yeah,
I'm
I'm
excited.
I'm
I'm
here
excited to
up in the
hear from
Great White
you.
North,
Yeah,
but it's summertime, so it's pretty warm up here right now. We're good.
is it? Okay,
Oh
good.
yeah.
Okay. Nothing too extreme right now.
No, it's beautiful out right now.
Nice. Now, you are the used car manager at the Volkswagen Waterloo store. And gosh, man, we've got so much to talk about. Above that, though, I've read a lot about you, and you've got a lot to say about leading a team. And a lot to say that I think people need to hear today. Okay. So
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
yeah. So just really quickly, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, how you got started. Now, I know this is an interesting story. You are an anomaly of sorts, but tell us uh, a little bit about your story so we get to know you.
Yeah, sure. I've been in the business quite a long time, like over 20 years, and I'm not originally from the car business. I find most people that have been doing this for this amount of time and especially have, devoted their careers to it and their education quite often started in the car business, have family in the car business. But I don't. I started fresh. Out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I kind of, you know, gravitated towards this career on the advice of a high school guidance counselor, just based on my
What?
interests, and I stuck with it. I've been
Awesome.
doing this for over 20 years now. Yeah.
That's not common.
It doesn't seem to be. I mean, I've met a lot of people since
Yeah.
then. I've been in the business a really long time. It's one of those, the car business is funny. Like there's some people that come and go, obviously, but there's a lot of folks like myself who just get into it and love it and wouldn't do anything else. Um, it's uh, it's a business that's been sort of over the years maybe a little underrated, I think, from an outsider's perspective.
Oh,
But
yeah.
people that are really in it and understand it know that it's a fabulous business and it's absolutely wonderful to build my career in it and it's I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's amazing. Yeah, you usually hear, God, 20 years later, and I never thought that I'd still be doing this.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
usually what you hear. But the fact that you chose to be in this business says a lot. I mean, listen, I know a lot of people who leave and then realize what an opportunity that they had being in
Yeah,
this industry, right?
I think we need to do a better job of just putting the word out there and making to be in. And I think a lot of people, outside of the car business, when they're just chatting with friends, meeting new people, they don't often, volunteer the information where they work and what line of business they're in because maybe they're just a little there's a little uneasiness or
A
whatever it
little
might be. But
embarrassment.
yeah, it happens, right? But I think
Yeah.
personally, I
Yeah.
think we should be shouting it from the rooftops. It's a fantastic business. There's
Yeah.
so many opportunities for so many different people, and it's awesome.
I don't know if
There's-
you and I talked about this, Greg, but what other industry and job can you walk into without a college education and earn six figures in your first year? You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
it's unheard of. So
100%.
Yeah, it's and there's some people that do that in other businesses too, but the car business gives you that opportunity, and then opportunity for growth from there in other areas. You could get into F&I, you could get into management.
Mm,
If you don't like sales, you can get into fixed ops, and there's plenty of careers, awesome careers over on that side of the business as well.
yeah.
Like when I see a new young person joining us in the car business, quite often it feels like it's just sort of, filling a gap and just doing something on the side or earning a little extra money. And I always take the time to make sure that they understand exactly what the opportunity potentially is for them in this business.
As we should, as
Yeah.
leaders. Uh, and I say it often too, and doesn't matter what background you have, what language you speak even. And there's no cap. No one's going to tell you can't make more money next month. So yeah, I'm with you. I think we need to do a better job at promoting this industry because uh man, when you're in it and you definitely give it a go, an honest go, it'll reward you. It'll reward you like no other. So I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's dive in. So you are the used car manager there, but it seems to me like you've got this really special role there. You take a lot of pride in leadership and in leading and coaching your team. And there's something interesting that you said that you don't really see the team as a whole, meaning when you're coaching they are a collection of individuals. Isn't that something? I mean, everyone's got a different personality. Everyone is motivated differently. And as teams become more diverse, even, right, this becomes even tougher. So, you know, early in your management career, what surprised you the most about leading large teams, especially at the dealer?
Yeah, it was tough. I was thrown into a management role at a fairly young age, so it was a
Yeah.
bit intimidating when all of a sudden, you're the one of the youngest people there and you're leading a big team. And I'll be the first person to admit I had really no idea what I was doing. And I would have assumed that leading a big team just meant, telling them what to do and getting people in a room all sort of fired up and getting them to all be on the same page. But what I learned, and it did take me a little while, was exactly what you said there. That's a team is not just one big group of people. It's a bunch of individuals, and everybody's a bit different. And we all have that experience of being in a larger group, and there's some people within the group that might be bringing lots of energy, and other people that kind of maybe drag it down a little bit. And there's just like all sorts of different types of people, and that's the same in any group. And when you're leading a team, that's something you have to keep in mind. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, leading a team is like as a group, it's a good way to, if I'm addressing the team in a sales meeting, for example, it's a great way to get information across. But what I've found is that it's those one-on-one coaching sessions, uh, learning more about that individual and figuring out what makes them tick and what's going to motivate them, because it's different for everybody. One person might be motivated by money, another might be just up for a challenge, or they want to, have they've got some sort of goal that they're trying to achieve. And not everybody is in it for the same reason. So you do have to coach your team as individuals, very, very importantly. But also it's a delicate balance, because you don't want to, come across as being someone's favorite or something like that too. So
Interesting. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not as simple as it might sound. And certainly when I first started, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So it was just a matter of learning on the go. And that's what I figured out is that you do have to treat your team
Like a
as
family.
a bunch of individuals, and like exactly like a
Yeah.
family. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to say, and I had a mentor tell me this once, you can never measure the heart of a man are an individual, right? And within a team, I love the silent assassin. You never know who that person is,
Yeah.
right? And in every dealership, you've got this person who people underestimate. Some may call them the farmer, versus the hunter in the team. But I love that you are doing the one-on-one coaching. I mean, that's something that not a lot of managers take the time to do. So, I can already tell you've got an elevated team and you're going places with that. What is the one thing that you could say in your leadership style that's made all of the difference? Maybe one thing that you do that you could tell managers like, hey, this is a game changer.
Well, what I've realized over the years is, and again, this is something that I didn't realize at first, but I've kind of learned over my experience,
Mm-hmm.
is that um, true leadership isn't about having all the answers. Everybody looks to you when they have questions, obviously. But the truth is, you're never going to have all the answers.
Huh.
And being a true leader means that you can ask all the right questions. And so when you're working with your team, they may have lots of questions for you, but sometimes you just have to kind of put it on pause and be like, okay, where are we going with this? Why are we doing this? What's the motivation here? And ask the right questions of your team.
I love that because I feel like in this business, we end up just parroting what other people do, like
Yeah.
regurgitating what other people say and do. I mean,
Yeah.
am I right?
Yeah, I mean, when you're coaching people and training people, there's lots of ways to do it. And I think, so it's easy to fall into that trap just
Mhm.
to say what you've been trained to say.
Exactly.
But again, it's an individual thing where there you need to understand the person in front of you.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like they have to understand their customer. It's really,
Yeah.
it's kind of that next level. We always talk about a salesperson needs to really, understand very well what their customers' lives and what their motivations are. Well, we need the same thing from our team.
Oh,
And you can't lead effectively unless you have that information. To get the information, you have to ask the right questions.
man. That's a truth bomb right there. That is a truth bomb. Because listen, we hammer our reps about the, EMI, the needs analysis, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But when we're addressing our team, we've got to take the same approach. So I love that. Otherwise, we're on autopilot with
Yeah.
them,
We
right?
often don't hold ourselves as accountable as we do
That's
for our
right.
teams, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like do as I say as I do. So I love that. Okay. So gosh, so much to talk about. Another thing I want to talk about is how the auto industry has changed in the past 3 years. So I see that you've been in for a while and you mentioned something about faxed credit apps. Now I remember logging every customer in my ledger book. I don't know if you guys remember
Oh
those
yeah,
enormous, those really long
hundred
ledgers.
percent.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, the technology's changed so much, right?
oh my
It's pretty
gosh.
wild.
I mean, but you said something really interesting. The core drivers of customer behavior remain unchanged,
Yeah,
and so many
absolutely.
dealers are chasing new technology and they're overlooking the fundamentals that still drive loyalty. So, somebody like you who's been in for a while, like, what are those fundamentals that have remained the same? What are we overlooking here?
Well, I think it's easy for a dealership to look at new technology and just sort of assume that all these different tools that you have at your disposal are going to accomplish certain things. And quite often, and it's simple, right? Like you can buy a new CRM, you can buy some new tool, AI tool, or whatever it may
Yeah.
be that helps you in certain areas. Um, but it's difficult. The difficult part is what actually brings you true staying power, which is the culture. And these new technology, the way I see it is just tools. Like people talk about AI is going to replace this, and I was there for the internet replacing Auto Trader magazines
Yes,
and
I
social
remember all of
media
that.
replacing things too. And it's like there's always something.
Yeah.
I think AI is really big. I think it's going to be a game changer. But at the end of the day, it's not going to replace people.
Hmm.
It's not going to change. the way that people make decisions to buy cars.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly changes the way they get the information, and in some cases confuses them a lot, right?
You
In which
think?
cases then it's our job to make things clear and to help guide them to help make that decision. But
Yeah.
if someone isn't confident in the information that they've got, if they're not confident in the person that they're speaking to at the car dealership, then they're going to have a hard time making a decision.
Now, why do you think some dealers are so obsessed with getting new tools and technology then? Right. And while neglecting the human side of things.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think it's just easier. I mean, it's easy to throw
Mm,
money at something.
yeah.
It's hard to build culture. It's really hard. Like that takes time. It takes people. It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And so, for what it's worth, like car dealers like to sometimes we like to, take the easy way out. We do from time to time. We're just like, well,
What are
that
you
looks good.
talking about? I don't know.
Here's something that could work. Let's try it. Let's throw some money at it and see if it works. But
Yeah. Yeah.
at the end of the day, none of that's gonna really help the
Hmm.
culture and
Hmm.
building your team. And that's where you see super, super successful dealerships in spite of new technology that comes out that have true staying power and they're there to stay because of the culture that they've built.
Because they have the culture. You're
Mhm.
right. And I've even seen dealers who engage in all of these new tools and technology, but when you really dig into their team, the turnover is way high. They haven't had any consistency or anyone managing those tools. The training isn't what it needs to be. So it, I get it. It clashes with a lot of the challenges that we have, and I think those are big factors in the lack of success with those tools,
Yeah,
right?
the tools are great. I mean, there's really
Yeah,
awesome stuff out there. Like
yeah,
we've signed up for new stuff all the time ourselves,
yeah, yeah.
but you can't lose sight of the fact that at the end of the day, that's not what's going to make you
Mm.
successful. It's how
Well,
you
Well,
and
right,
use
so
because
it.
how many, oh, sorry.
yeah, no, go
Yeah.
ahead, Michael.
I was just saying, how many of those tools that we buy as dealers go unused,
I
right?
know.
Don't get
Yeah.
used right. Don't get used properly. Like the technology is great, but it's like,
Yeah.
what's that statistic? We only use a certain percentage of our brain, right? What percentage of these tools and their capabilities do we actually do? Like, we'll take
Hmm.
a tool, like a super simple tool like CoVideo, okay? Super easy, super simple. If you just want to make videos, upload them on your phone, send them to people, you can do that. That's the basic. But then they
Yeah.
have AI tools and teleprompter tools and this tool and that tool and graphics and emojis, and you could really dive in and manage your accountability tools and everything else. Like, how much are you using of these tools is a great question today, right? And
Yeah,
it's
Oh,
tough
it's true.
for you
Yeah.
guys as desk managers is the challenge, because how do you balance it?
I feel like it also goes back to the competitive nature of the car business. I mean, just think about when we attended NADA this year of how much was revolving around AI. You know, if you don't play into everything and you don't do what your competitors are doing, you feel left behind. You know what I mean? So I think that
Yeah.
the competitive nature also forces us to get the next best thing and the newest technology because everybody else is doing it.
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You guys all have great
Yeah.
points. And I remember meeting this girl a few years ago who is really well known for her videos. She worked at a dealer and she did a lot of video and they looked great. The editing, whatever she did, she was getting a lot of attention for her videos. And when you asked her, she only had her cell phone and a tape dispenser. Now you
Mhm.
ask a tape dispenser, why? Well, because she needed to prop her phone up on something. So she'd take the tape dispenser, put it on the dashboard, and lean her phone
Love
up
it.
against it. And that's what she
I
did.
love that. That's great.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. You
So
can strip away all the technology and still, be successful in this
right.
business, right?
Exactly.
You have to ask yourself,
Exactly.
like, when you're adding a new tool, what are you doing? Are you like, is that tool fitting into your process? Is it creating a new process?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you have to really think about what it's going to look like in everybody's day to day. And a lot of times you do that as a dealer, as a leader, you don't necessarily understand how it's going to affect everybody because there's a lot of unintended consequences when you add new technology sometimes too.
Time
And if
spent.
you're not, yeah, so you can
Mhm.
either add it and have it fit into your process perfectly and make it and really amplify your success, or you can, it can amplify your, how broken your process is too, if
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
going to
your
work.
shortcomings. Yeah, no, I hear you totally. Well, and on that note, let's stick to this topic, because if we transcend from the business side over to the shopper side, we take the same technology, information overload, and we think about what that's doing to the average shopper. I mean, let's face it, they're coming in with more information, but is it helping them? Right?
Mhm.
More information doesn't always create a better decision. So, how do we make sense of conflicting information rather than simply provide more of it? So,
Yeah.
Greg, this is for you. Glenn, sorry. How was customer behavior uh, before? How has it changed as we've had more information now accessible? Like, are shoppers coming in different? Is it tougher to convert? What are you
Yeah.
seeing on the showroom floor with your team?
I mean, I've seen it. I feel like I've seen it all. Maybe I haven't, but I think that, when I started, the first dealership that I worked for didn't even have a website. And, you'd have customers coming in because they saw an ad in the newspaper. And it's gradually progressed. And now maybe less, not so gradually, things are, technology is accelerating,
Yeah.
exponentially. But it's been this gradual shift where we have all the information versus them not having any, and a
Mm,
customer now has tons of information at their fingertips, all the information they could ever ask for. Like
mm,
they literally know everything. They could if they have access to it. And I think the problem is, it just, like you said, it becomes a bit of information overload for most
right.
people.
Right.
Most people don't really understand cars. They don't understand the car business. And then when it comes time to go and buy a car, they don't really know what they're looking at. All this information, they quite often people think that they're getting stuff that's relevant when it's actually not. They think that there's some big secret that we're holding, but there isn't. And
Right.
it's just like a lot of the information has just made it more confusing for everybody. And part of our job then is to help customers down that journey and help them make sense of the information, help them feel
Yep.
confident in us, in the decision that they're making, and show them what information is and isn't relevant to them, and really help guide that process. So now more than ever,
Uh-huh.
salespeople cannot be order takers. They have this, the customers have the same information that you do. So it's more than ever, you have to understand it, really research it, know your stuff, but then more importantly, know your customer as well, and what's actually going to be important to them, and earn that trust. If you don't earn
Ooh,
the trust, then you're not gonna earn the sale.
bingo. That's it right there. Michael, I see your wheels turning.
Well, that's what it's about. This is all about trust now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If we think about it, Greg and I touched on this a little bit when we talked earlier. Like, the truth is, we were so worried during COVID, like petrified. I would be in dealers. They're like, oh, these customers, they're so upside down. I don't know what we're going to do in a couple of years, right? Like, that was like Susan and I, everywhere we went. Greg, I'm sure you were sitting there going, oh my God, what are we going to do? The reality is, that's not the problem. We're fine with that. We know how to get over that hurdle. The problem is, the customer trusts us at the lowest level they've ever trusted us. We literally have a 7% trustworthy score. Like, so
We got some work to
understanding
do.
what's that?
I said we've got some work to do because,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
the
we're a
the business.
450 credit score with a whole bunch of defaults and repos. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's
Well,
it's
and
tough.
then
It's
what
tough
is
to
it
it's
doing?
tough to look at yourself in the mirror sometimes, but and realize it. But
Yeah.
it's true, and I think that's part of the like I said, the stigma that this business has right
Oh,
now,
yeah.
and
Right.
we
And
need to go out of our way to change it.
Hmm.
exactly. And again, you're not going to change. We're not going to change everyone. My goal isn't, your goal, Greg, is, and everyone listening to this, your goal isn't to change everyone's opinion about, the whole entire industry. It's just changing people's minds about you and your dealership. That's it.
Yeah.
I just have to deal with this person who's on my phone right now. If I can change their mind about me and my dealership, I
Yeah.
won. I don't care about everyone else. I'll fight that next battle on the next phone call, on the next text, on the next email.
Yeah.
Absolutely. On that same note, talking about technology, one of the other things that I see it do, and I know that this is a fear, we've all talked about it, is that some people believe AI is creating this race to the bottom, right? On especially with used cars, now that everything is out there. Greg, is that a fair concern? What are you seeing as the used car manager right now? Do you think AI is helping our gross profit or is it hurting it?
I mean, it's probably not helping it right now. I think AI is definitely bringing to the table a lot of tools that can help us be more productive. But like I said,
Mhm.
it sort of has to fall into our sort of our flow and the way, our processes, the way we do things. From the customer's perspective, from the customer side of it, I think you have a lot more access to a lot more information, and it can kind of structure it in a way where a customer might feel like they're really, you know, able to come into a dealership armed with the right strategy, with the right
Right.
information. And what we're finding, it's not too many right now, but we've had
Uh-huh.
a few customers literally come in with sort of AI
A
generated
big gap
strategies
in
to
that number.
negotiate. Yeah, and that happens too. They think that they can get a $4,000 discount on a car where there really
Mm-hmm.
is not a
Mm-hmm.
possibility for that to happen. Um, I've had a customer swear up and down that their trade-in was worth $10,000 more than it actually
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and it's very difficult at that point then to sort of show them the the real
To get out of
information the
that,
way
to
it is.
get to and
Yeah,
to
it's tough. Yeah,
advise the client, because if the trust is low to begin with, we're already
yeah.
working
And
backwards. And I get that. With you, what I'm curious, you seem to have such a great leadership style and culture there. How do you prep your team? How do you advise them of these things? Is there something, one of the things at Proactive we love, absolutely love, is training on the trade conversation, right? That first phone call is critical today. And let's face it, most reps are just breezing through that trade conversation, right? So, is there anything
yeah.
special that you do there to train your team on how to handle those conversations?
Yeah, every trade is important to us, and it definitely opens up that conversation.
Mhm.
We're in a market where like people tend to keep their cars a pretty long time, so the trade
Yeah,
is less of a sticking point as far as the trade value, but it can be a great opportunity to go over someone's driving habits and there's how they've spent money on their car and things like that.
I see.
The trade walk is often just confirming what the customer already kind of knows a lot of times about their vehicle as far as the condition of it. And yeah, every once in a while when we get a real gem in, I tell everybody like the way prices are right now at the auctions, it's just crazy. So if we get like a real opportunity on a very, very nice trade-in, I never will lose a deal. And they all understand that if someone has a nice trade-in, we are on that and
Yeah,
working
yeah.
every angle we
That's
can. So and that's as my role as a used car manager, obviously that's what gets me really excited. It's one less car I have to go buy at the auction if we can bring it in on
avoid
trade.
those fees. If we can
Exactly.
avoid those fees, that's a win, right?
Yeah. And in those cases, so if the customer's got lots of information about what their car should be worth, quite often it's either a matter of validating it or just sort of backing it up with some real world information as well. And I'm not scared to sit down and show a customer exactly how much their car would be worth at an auction, how much it might cost to recondition it, because that's the other thing that factors in
Hmm.
nowadays that a lot of customers don't necessarily consider is like the cost of
Wholesale opportunity.
reconditioning used cars
Yeah.
has gone up, and it's quite amazing actually how much things cost nowadays. So um, something that you have to point out to people, and if they have any deferred maintenance, then it's like, okay, here's more money you're going to have to spend down the road. So
Yeah.
it does open up a huge opportunity to move somebody who's maybe just sort of in the just thinking phase towards the making a decision phase.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely. And we're seeing that a lot. We're seeing folks get uh dealerships that are mandating those conversations now to try to acquire the trade, even to just to drive the traffic into the store. and a lot of folks here in the States, I mean, let's face it, especially in the big cities, I mean, we've got 2-year turnovers here. So, we've got a lot of people who would trade up and trade in rather quickly, and dealers that are more than happy to take that car, even if it ends up being a wholesale piece, right? Because it drives the traffic in there. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
we love that. We love that. Well, listen, I could stay on for another hour, but we're not going to do that. Not today, at least. But you've given us so many good little golden nuggets that I know that I'm going to take, some truth bombs. Michael, I know you wanted to remind us we've got some important events coming up with Proactive. I know we've got a video competition coming up, so look out for emails on that. You'll see announcements coming soon, but we do have a very special event coming up.
Yes, we have Management by Fire. It is here, it is time, and it is ready. We are going to be in Dallas, July 22nd, July 22nd to the 24th, Wednesday,
Correct.
Thursday, Friday. The cool part about this is you're going to have Susan and myself teaching everything that we've always talked about at Management by Fire, right? We're going to be fire phoning and ringing, and we are going to talk about how we get all that activity from outside of the showroom in. We're going to talk about how are we answering these internet leads, the phone calls, and how are we handling also all of our outbound activities, those equity customers, previous customers, but then something we've never done before and the industry has never seen before. We're bringing together the Tim Kins group. A lot of unfortunately, Tim passed away last year, and that company does, Tim and Alan were a lot alike, and they spoke a lot the same, but they played in two different parts of the dealership. Alan taught about how do we get everything from outside of the showroom in. Tim taught what happens inside the showroom once that customer arrives. So this event is going to not just focus on the outside of the showroom, but we're going to talk about how inside the showroom. Tim taught about fearless leadership and the art of negotiation from the desk. Yeah. Those are things that are going to be taught by the Kins folks. Mike Seeley, their vice president. Yeah. It's going to be an amazing event, one like we've never seen before. And it truly is. We're teaching the smoothest handoff in auto. We're taking proactive training and Tim's fearless leadership. We're throwing it together, and it's just going to be awesome. So Casey's your person to speak to, me, Susan, whoever you like to about that. We'll hopefully get Greg there too, and you can meet him. So thank you, everybody, from me at least. I always appreciate you all being here. Greg, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I've really enjoyed.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much.
Learning about you, learning about your store. This is something I've known for a long time, having dealers in Canada, but Volkswagen's a very different brand, everybody, in Canada than it is in America. It's a very different brand. It's looked at very differently than it is here in the States. And what they're doing in Waterloo is awesome.
Come to Dallas.
Thank you so much.
Come to Dallas.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, no, that's a good combo that you've got between the two groups there. That's awesome.
It's basically two playbooks in one, guys. So yeah, if you're a manager here and you've got a next wave of leadership you're trying to push, this is the perfect event. So yeah, reach out to us, but check your emails. You'll be getting a lot of notifications soon. We're all over socials, managementbyfire.com. Again, managementbyfire.com. Look it up, get registered. I hope to see you guys there. Greg, you're awesome. Casey, Michael, we'll see you guys in the next.
Real soon.
Maybe
Thanks,
not in
everybody.
person. Bye, guys. Have a great
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.